Good morning, good morning. So, interesting night, interesting morning, right? That's my daughter. She's currently playing in flour on the floor. Cooking flour. Uh-huh. So anyways, I was just thinking, I'm reading Half Bad by Sally Green, and there's a line in it, and something that I watch a lot of movies and TV shows, listen to a lot of music. Well, less music nowadays, but okay. But I have listened to a lot of music, and I've read a lot. And something that I've heard, over and over and over again is to never underestimate the enemy. Never underestimate the enemy. And I take that I I believe it, you know. Mm-hmm. A way that I try to describe my experience before is like the Truman Show. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that or heard of that with Jim Carrey, where his life is it's a TV show. He's being watched. Everyone around him are actors, like they're all in it together, just to watch this guy, see how he reacts, see how he lives his life. That is what I have felt like for a long time now that I have been experiencing. I tried to describe it. I think at least some in a video that I posted a year, maybe even 2 years ago, where I'm sitting and I'm describing, my experience of losing my mind, so to speak, in college. Like when all of this, just when everything just started to be very, very strange for me. And I just got done reading The Return of Merlin. And like I said, now I'm reading Half Bad. And, I was just thinking, I was like, I just recently remembered a book that I read by a Black female science fiction author. Her name is Octavia. I hope you guys can hear me over my daughter, but her name is Octavia Butler, and she wrote a series that I like among several other books, but someone that I have read relatively recently within the last few years is Lilith's Brood, and that is yet another book that I feel like describes, in a sense, my experience. This idea that there is a force outside of you. In Octavia Butler's book, in the main character's case, there were literally aliens who were controlling her life. Basically, she had to learn how to live with alien overlords. They had several. Literally, they were cloning her. There were several versions of her that were put through their trials and their experiments in order to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish. And this is not me demonizing these aliens. This is their way of living. This is what they do. And the main character in Octavia Butler's book, she forms a necessary acceptance of her alien overlords, because what are you going to do? And I think that's something that is true, something that is reality for me as a Black woman, is my resilience, my ability to carry on. And a lot of people have it, I think. I also know that a lot of people don't. A lot of people can't carry on. I have tried to kill myself before. I know a person who has killed himself before. I know people who are zombies and they would say that they would say that they're depressed, whatever. But yeah, they're the living dead. I know the living dead, people who don't have it, who aren't interested in carrying on, who can't carry on. And there's no shame in that, you know. It's hard. Things get hard. Things become unbearable. There are some things to where I personally feel like you shouldn't have to carry on. You shouldn't be expected to carry on. I don't like it. This this these feelings around suicide, like, oh, it's so selfish. Oh, don't kill yourself. It's like, lady, you don't know what that person is going through. Like, I strongly believe that there's a time where things are just not acceptable, where it's not acceptable to carry on the way that you've been carrying on before. So like I said, Truman Show, Littlest Brood, and now I'm reading Half Bad, and it just makes me think, and then it made me think about, cause I was thinking about literary analysis, and it made me think about, George Orwell's, I think it's 1984, and I'm not sure it was in 1984 in that book, but like the thought police, because my experience has been that it's not just my actions that are criticized and policed. It's my thoughts. My mind is criticized and policed. If I think a certain way, then my overlords, will have something to say. Like, oh, well, should be like this little snappy little, you know what I mean? So, I personally believe in thought police. Like that's it's a real thing. Like this is happening. And a lot of people don't perceive that they're experiencing this, but it is a thing. And it makes you think about how people, read books that these authors, come up with, however they come up with these ideals and these concepts. And people are all like, they take it metaphorically. They take it so metaphorically, and they're all like, this, you compare it to that, and it's all this great comparison. And that is, helpful. It does serve a purpose. And I believe that perhaps sometimes people are intentionally trying to make things metaphorical just to show a perspective. However, something to consider, and I think that something that people they just don't really consider is like, no, this is literal. This is literal. Okay. When I was studying theology at Spring Hill College, I learned that there is a sect of believers, of Christians, who believe that all of the miracles in the Bible were not literal. They don't believe that Jesus literally walked on water. They don't believe that Jesus literally healed the blind. They don't believe in miracles, because that is not, in their mind, that is not scientific. It's not possible. It's not what happened. Whatever. Neither here nor there. That's a whole nother, conversation, an interesting conversation, an interesting concept that, these people, they do believe that God is out there. And, perhaps they believe that that God, not he, the God has these rules and expectations for how you should believe. They probably don't believe that, because it doesn't make any sense either. The same as it doesn't make any sense that Jesus walked on water. That doesn't make any sense. Google it. Look it up. There are people who are believers, but they don't believe that the miracles in the Bible they don't believe that it literally happened. No, that's not their reality. So, and I think that's, like I said, neither here nor there. That's whatever. But I'm saying, I feel like that's how people take things. You know, they're like, oh, well, that's not it. That's not it. That's not literally it. And I'm like, listen, you know, let's be open. Something else that, you know, that is a sticking point for me. People are like, oh, I'm so open-minded. You know, be open for real, for real. If you can believe that these miracles, that these allegories, that these metaphors that you're reading about and seeing in your TV shows and listening to on music, if you can believe that they're not literal, why can't you also believe that perhaps they are literal? That it means exactly what it says, that exactly what they said happened, that it is happening. And I think it's because people, let me give an example, a metaphor that is literal. When I was going to Spring Hill College, when I first visited the campus, I was like, wow, this campus is gorgeous. Love is beautiful in my mind. Beautiful campus, right? The architecture and all of that stuff, the color of the buildings, the green grass, the trees, the flowers, loved it, right? But then I went there for until my junior year of college, and by that time the grounds didn't change, but my eyes had become so accustomed to seeing it, I didn't find myself in awe of it anymore. I didn't have moments where I would stop and think, wow, this is so pretty anymore. Nothing had changed. It didn't stop being pretty. Now when I even look back at it and think about the campus, I'm like, wow, it's such a pretty campus. But I was seeing it every day. I was living there. I was walking. I just stopped seeing it. I stopped perceiving it as beautiful. Nothing changed. I just stopped appreciating it. Now I feel like that is what happens. I feel like that is what happened. I feel like that is happening. People being alive. It's so workaday. Oh, someone's pregnant. Oh, they have a baby. Baby gets old. Old person dies. Circle of life, blah, blah, blah. The sun rises. The moon shines. Millions of stars. We breathe. We think. It's what we do. It's not beautiful to us anymore. You don't see people coming up with creation stories anymore. You don't have people believing that there's some renowned believer out there who is inspired by God themselves to teach and preach and write. We don't have people adding to the Bible anymore because apparently God is done speaking. We don't have people adding to the Bible anymore. The Bible is written, is done. We don't have people coming up, cultures coming up and explaining creation anymore because there is no more mystery to us. It is not beautiful anymore. Life is not a miracle anymore. It's what we expect. It's normal. Even though we have, according to the general accepted knowledge of humanity, even though we have yet to find life such as ourselves anywhere else, we're used to it. There are signs all around us that says miracle, miracle, this is a miracle, this is a miracle, this is amazing, this is crazy. But we're used to it. It's what we expect. For some reason, we think that things going right is normal and things going wrong isn't the norm, when in fact, that is not the case. Wow. And so since I feel like this fundamental understanding is flawed, I feel like that's why people look at me and they hear me speak about my experiences and they hear me speak about my perspective and they say, oh, she's crazy. Oh, she's off her rocker. And I'm like, we can't even begin to have a conversation that I feel is based on truth and logic and reality, because you don't even accept that we're miracles. Like we're nowhere near, we're not on the same page. We're not in the same book. We're not speaking the same language. We're different species because like you don't even understand. So yeah, I just, it's like it says somewhere on a movie or maybe in a song, maybe in the Bible, maybe I read it in another book, maybe I read it in fucking Harry Potter, who knows? But damn, my daughter just threw flour in her hair and she spent all this time getting none in her hair and I was so proud of her, but now she just threw it up in the air and got it in her hair. So she's not going to be happy when I have to wash that out, but it's not going to take long. But yeah, I got it somewhere where they say, they're constantly eating, they're constantly hearing, they're constantly drinking, but it's not enough. Like you're constantly, this is a miracle, this is a miracle, this is a miracle. Open your mind, perceive your reality. But you're literally, it's right under your nose. Constantly, but it means nothing to you.